Hello, friends. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to stand out in a saturated market. There's a lot more online offers these days because of the ability to get online. It's so much easier. There's so many more tools now. There's a lot of software. There's a lot of companies that have course creation products. There's a lot of people teaching course creation. So, when it comes to creating your online offer, how do you stand out among all of the others that are out there online? You're listening to the Optimize Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Barnes. I'm a customer journey marketing strategist, and I help you maximize sales by optimizing the customer experience. Today, we're going to be talking about 4 different ways that you can stand out in a saturated market. The first one is to have a unique framework. What this is it is a unique methodology or a unique way of doing things that's easy to remember, and 2 is a lot different than what's currently out there. For example, one methodology or framework that has been out there for a long time is something called SMART goals. Now, I don't know who originally created this, but it is circulating. And basically, what a SMART goal is a goal that stands for SMART, which is smart, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Had to take a second to remember all of those. But essentially, if you set a goal using the SMART method, SMART, then it allows you to have a better chance of actually achieving that goal. So, this is just one framework that is very popular out there. There's a lot of different ones too. One is the Pomodoro technique, which is a way to help you get things done faster. Basically, you set a timer, I think, for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, 25 minutes again, 5 minutes off. And it allows you to be a lot more productive in shorter chunks. Another popular methodology is the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. And basically, what this is, it is not the 5-second rule when it comes to dropping food and being able to eat it within 5 seconds, but it is, I think the reason why it's so memorable is because of that. But essentially, what the 5-second rule is that you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you need to act on whatever it is that you've been putting off or procrastinating and just do it within those 5 seconds. So, for example, if you need to get up early in the morning, then count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get up before that countdown ends. Or if you've been delaying a workout, for example, just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and try to get up and go before that countdown ends. The whole idea is to get your brain out of thinking mode and into action mode. And by counting down 5 seconds, it allows you to kind of circumvent any kind of overthinking before taking action. Now, methodologies are easy to explain, but they take a little bit more work to understand. And that's why there are books on SMART goals. There are books, or Mel Robbins has written a book on the 5-second rule because it takes a little bit more work to fully understand the concept. Now, if you took the little 2-minute explanation that I had of the 5-second rule and you applied it to your life and you emailed me and you came back with these amazing results of being much more productive because of this rule I taught you, I would be amazed. I would be proud, but also amazed. And obviously, the credit would end up going to Mel Robbins because it is her methodology that she came up with. But what I'm trying to get at really is that even though you have a methodology that's easy to explain, you have an online offer that goes and dives deep into the why the methodology works, exactly how to apply it, where the pitfalls are when it comes to applying it. So there's a lot more than just creating something like the 5-second rule or something like the Pomodoro technique. Really, the methodology is sort of the hook to get people interested. It's a talking point. It's great for podcasts because it's a little soundbite, it's a snippet. It's great for book titles, the 5-second rule. It's quick and easy to remember, but just remember that it is a hook and that your online offer is going to expand on that framework or methodology. Another way that you can stand out in a crowded marketplace is to create a unique niche by combining 2 very different interests. So, for example, one of my favorite comedians is Nurse John. So, I came across Nurse John because my friend is a nurse and she's also Filipino, and so is Nurse John. And so, the combination of being Filipino and a nurse for some reason just made it funnier. There's the stereotype that if you're Filipino, you have a high chance of becoming a nurse. And if you go to a hospital, like 90% of the nurses are Filipino. Not really, but you know what I mean. A high percentage of them are going to be Filipino. The way that he approaches comedy, the way that he approaches these skits that he does on his Instagram is very unique because it allows him to create content that is specific for nurses. Now, his target audience has always been nurses, it hasn't been the general population. But because he's so focused on the nursing field, his content stands out a lot more. So even though I'm not a nurse and even though I can't relate to some of the things that he talks about, in his skits and his sketches, I have a general understanding of the struggles that nurses deal with, and just being able to see him create content that is deeply personal to people who are nurses, it makes it even that much funnier. So while his content doesn't appeal to the general public, it is deeply personal with the audience that he is targeting because it is so relatable to them. So when it comes to creating content in your specific field and your niche, maybe you don't need to appeal to the general public. Maybe you just need to appeal to a small segment of the population. And by doing so, you become a lot more deeply connected with your audience. Another example of somebody combining two very unique niches is a lawyer who talks about celebrity legal battles. So, if you can imagine for a second, a lawyer is pretty buttoned up and usually tries to maintain a level of composure when it comes to being professional. And people who talk about celebrities, like the Perez Hiltons of the world, they are these animated characters that are so far from legal that they're pushing almost illegal, salacious content. Then you have a lawyer like Emily D. Baker who combines both of those worlds, and it makes for a very interesting show. So, Emily D. Baker is a YouTuber and somebody who comments on celebrity legal battles, public celebrity legal battles, and she commentates on them based on her own legal expertise. Now, I don't know if she started this or if other people or other lawyers are just now coming out because they've seen her do it. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But I just remember Emily D. Baker being one of the very first lawyers to do something like this. Now, Emily doesn't practice law, at least not in court anyway. And so she's able to do something like this. She's able to have a public persona like this. Doing something like this as a lawyer can be quite risky, especially if you're a practicing lawyer with clients. But in this case, I think in Emily's case, and I'm speculating, I'm assuming based on just what I've seen in general, is that Emily is not actively practicing with actual clients. She's more so using her law degree to basically be able to comment on legal battles from a lawyer's perspective. And so her business model is entirely on the content creation part, as opposed to practicing trial law. Again, that is an assumption just based on what I've seen. So, yeah, please don't sue me. All right, one more example from the unique niche market, and that is Vivian Tu, also known as your rich BFF. And what I love about her is that she is an ex Wall Street trader, so she's had some experience on Wall Street. But she talks about personal finance from the point of being your bestie, and she incorporates a lot of pop culture references as well when it comes to talking about personal finance. Now, personal finance can be a dry and boring topic, but the way that she approaches it is from a fun kind of bestie perspective, and it makes it a lot more interesting to listen to when you approach personal finance that way. If you came to me and you were telling me that your content is all about taxes, budgets, and spreadsheets, I'm probably going to tune out in 5 seconds flat. But the way that she approaches personal finance is from a place of being your bestie. And by drawing from these pop culture references, it makes it a lot more easier to listen to. So if you have a content that is a little bit dry, like personal finance, find a way to infuse a little bit more fun into it by incorporating a little bit more of your personality. Now, this brings me to my third way of standing out in a saturated marketplace, and that is being unapologetic about your interest. Now, this alone is not enough to build a business, but it is enough to attract attention. So, for example, Liz Wilcox, she's the creator of the email marketing membership, the creator of the email sound booth, which is her podcast, as well as a Facebook group. Now, there's a lot that stands out about Liz because she is such a unique personality. But one of the things that really sticks out is her love for the 90s. And I love how she incorporates this throughout all of her marketing and all of her branding. She loves NSYNC. She loves the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and she loves the crazy colors that come with the 90s. And you'll see that when you go to her website. But what I love is the fact that she is unapologetic about how much she loves the 90s. She dresses in 90s clothing and she loves NSYNC. You can see it. I don't know if she still has it, but I remember seeing it in the background in some of her videos. She also just has a fun and quirky personality, which I love. And you'll notice that when you go to her website, you can go to lizwilcox.com to check it out. But especially her email marketing membership sales page, I just recommend checking that out just to see some of the GIFs that she uses on that page. It'll give you an idea of her sense of humor, and I absolutely love it. So, in terms of email marketing itself, the stuff that she teaches is pretty I don't want to say basic. That's the wrong way to go about it. But the stuff that she teaches is pretty standard when it comes to email marketing. But the way that she teaches it and how she infuses her personality when she's on her podcast or just talking about content in general, her personality really shines. Now, not all of us are naturally funny, but we don't have to force ourselves to be funny or to force ourselves to be any kind of personality. But if you have a certain way that you do things or you have a certain tendency to do things, and it doesn't impact or it doesn't negatively impact the way that you teach, then by all means, like bring it into the way that you teach. Now, the next person or illustration that I'm going to be talking about is not a internet marketing personality. In fact, this is just somebody who speaks on occasion at our local church, but you can tell that this person loves sports. Like they absolutely live and breathe sports. They work in construction, but they love sports, talk about sports, dress like they play sport 24/7. And so when it comes to his sermons, there's always going to be some sort of sports analogy, particularly baseball. And so it's very interesting because I don't know much about baseball. I don't know much about sports. But when it comes to the analogies itself and him trying to explain something, he likes to use sports a lot and it works. Do I love baseball? No, I don't love baseball. But did I get his point? Did I understand it? Yes, I did. And because he was able to use a topic that he's very familiar with, he was able to explain it better. And so, similarly, when it comes to talking about certain concepts in your field, if you have something that you love, whether it's sports, whether it's baking, whether it's photography, whatever it is, if you have examples or analogies that you can explain easier because you love something, then feel free to incorporate it in your content. And finally, I'm going to talk about one more internet marketing personality, and his name is Zach Spuckler. I talk about him a lot on this podcast because I simply just love the way that he does marketing. But Zach Spuckler is somebody who teaches Facebook ads, and he says that Facebook ads can be a very dry topic. So, in order to make it fun, he does like to incorporate a little bit of fun into his challenges. And some of the themes that he's had in the past have been with cats, literally like the animal. He's in a cats theme challenge as well as a Taylor Swift challenge. So, unlike the guest preacher at my local church who uses sports as an analogy, Zach really doesn't use Taylor Swift as an analogy or even cats whatsoever as an analogy. He just uses it just for fun. For example, he did a welcome party for his boot camp and had a Taylor Swift cutout right next to him during this welcome party. What does Taylor Swift have to do with Facebook ads? Not much, not much at all, but I loved it because it made it fun and it made it very interesting. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and buy a Taylor Swift cutout and have it with you in order to have a successful challenge or in order to have a successful program. But what I am saying is that when you incorporate the things that you love, it makes you that much happier and that much more confident on camera. And what it is that it brings this level of joy that can't be brought on simply by talking about the topic itself. For those of you who have been with me for a little while, you'll notice that I try to sneak in a little bit of K-pop content whenever I can. So on my last challenge for the first offer fast track, I try to incorporate some K-pop music during some of our break times. I'll have BTS on my desk or in the background. So on my pinboard, I have like some BTS photos there. This is, if you're watching the YouTube channel, that's not BTS. I'm currently into ATs and that is our captain. Just having that in the background, it's fun when I play back the videos and I see those photos. It just makes me happy. Now, standing out online is not about having pictures of all of your favorite things in the background, although that is fun. But really, the idea that I want to hammer home today is that it's okay to show up as yourself. The more that you show up as yourself, authentically yourself, then the more confident you'll be when you're creating content. And it's really that confidence that stands out more than anything. Now, my final tip when it comes to standing out in a saturated marketplace is honestly not going to be as fun as the others that we've talked about, but it is probably one of the more important things. And that is consistency and recency when it comes to content creation. Being consistent with creating content as well as keeping up to date with your content creation. Those who are the most consistent when it comes to content creation are the ones that tend to win out. They also are typically the ones that have the most recent content. So, what I mean by recency, let me talk about recency because a lot of people are not familiar with that term. Recency basically means that your most recent piece of content isn't more than a month old. In fact, it really shouldn't even be more than 1 to 2 weeks old. Sometimes I'll be researching a specific topic, but if I haven't seen that somebody hasn't updated their YouTube channel or updated their content within the past couple of months, then it makes me question if they're going to update it again in the future. If I have a feeling that they're not going to be updating or adding more content in the future, then really there's no need for me to follow them because I believe that there isn't going to be anything in the future. So, for example, let's say I want to buy a home in the Orlando area and I am looking between two people. Two realtors. One, they both have YouTube channels. One has been in the real estate industry for 10 years, but they haven't posted a single thing for an entire year. Then you have somebody else who is relatively new to the real estate industry. They have been posting only for 2 years, but consistently over the past 2 years. And their most recent video was a week ago. When it comes to finding a realtor, guess who I am probably going to go with? Probably the one who has been posting consistently. Now, I may still talk to the other realtor, but the one who's been updating recently lets me know that they have their pulse on the industry as of today, meaning that their content is more recent. So they have a better idea of what's happening in the market today, as opposed to somebody who has been dormant for the past year. Now, just because they posted for 2 years consistently does not mean that they are automatically the winner in the situation. However, they are a new realtor. And because they've been posting consistently, it has put them on my radar. And similarly for you, if you're new to this industry or if there's a lot of competitors, if you are the one that's posting more content more recently, then it allows you to attract the attention of people who otherwise you would not have been able to attract. So, in order to stay recent, the best way to stay recent is to be consistent. Make sure that you're posting content on a regular basis, particularly weekly, if not more than that. But it's again, this allows you to stay top of mind and it allows your content to come up when people are searching for your topic. All right. So to recap, we've talked about creating a unique framework or methodology. We've talked about creating a unique niche by combining two very different industries. We've also talked about incorporating your personality and finally creating content that is consistent and recent. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, I hope that you'll join us for the next round of First Offer Fast Track. This is going to allow you to create your online offer in 3 days. The next live round begins in September. So make sure to sign up at firstofferfasttrack.com. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.